Something significant just happened at Chase Center that has everyone in the Warriors organization talking, and it involves one of the most discussed players on our roster right now. Welcome to Warriors News Fan Report, your number one source for breaking updates, insider analysis, and everything you need to know about our Golden State Warriors. I'm here to deliver the latest news, exclusive insights, and all the critical information that matters to Dubs Nation. Today, I'm diving deep into a situation that's been developing over the past few weeks. A storyline that reached a pivotal moment during Monday night's game against the Utah Jazz, and a scenario that could have massive implications for how this Warriors roster looks as we move toward the trade deadline and the second half of the season. This isn't just about one game or one performance. This is about a player fighting for his place in this organization, about the front office evaluating every option available to improve this team, and about decisions that could reshape our championship aspiration. Stay with me through this entire breakdown, because what I'm about to reveal will give you a complete understanding of where things stand right now and what could be coming next for the Warriors. Let me set the stage for where the Golden State Warriors are at this moment in the season. We've been going through a stretch that can only be described as frustrating and underwhelming. The team had dropped 3 consecutive games heading into Monday night's matchup with the Jazz, and the mood around the organization was tense. Fans were questioning rotations, analysts were dissecting every decision Steve Kerr made, and there was a growing sense that something needed to change if we were going to turn this season around and get back to playing Warriors basketball the way we know we're capable. The offensive rhythm that defined our dynasty years has been inconsistent. The defensive intensity has wavered at times, and we've struggled to find that cohesive identity that makes championship teams special. Monday night's game against Utah started exactly how we didn't want it to. The Warriors came out flat, struggled to execute offensively, and found themselves trailing by 9 points at the end of the first quarter. It was the kind of start that had fans at Chase Center groaning and people on social media already preparing their hot takes about what's wrong with this team. But something shifted after that opening period. The Warriors found a groove. The ball started moving with purpose. Shots started falling, and we began to see the kind of offensive firepower that we know this roster possesses. By the time the final buzzer sounded, Golden State had pulled away for a convincing 134-117 victory, snapping that 3-game losing streak and giving everyone associated with the organization a much-needed exhale. The final score tells you we won comfortably. But the real story of Monday night goes much deeper than just getting back in the win column. There were individual performances that stood out, lineup decisions that proved effective, and one particular player whose night has become the focal point of conversations throughout the entire Warriors community. Before I get to that player and what his performance means for his future with this organization, I need to walk you through everything else that happened, because it all connects to the bigger picture of where the Warriors are headed. Stephen Curry did what Stephen Curry does, leading the Warriors with 31 points in just 29 minutes of action. The 2-time MVP shot 12-20-4 from the floor and 6 of 17 from three-point range, orchestrating the offense with his usual brilliance and reminding everyone why he's still one of the most dangerous players in the league. When Curry is clicking and finding his rhythm, this Warriors offense becomes nearly impossible to stop. He was making shots from impossible angles, creating space with his movement, and setting up teammates for quality looks throughout the game. That's the Curry we need to see consistently if we're going to make a deep playoff run. Jimmy Butler added 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in his typically efficient manner. The 6-time All-Star has been exactly what the Warriors hoped he would be when they brought him in, providing veteran leadership, two-way excellence, and the ability to impact games without needing the ball in his hands constantly. However, there was a concerning moment in the fourth quarter when Butler hobbled off the court with what appeared to be some kind of injury. The Warriors' medical staff will need to evaluate him, and everyone in Dubs Nation is hoping it's nothing serious, because Butler has become such an integral part of what makes this team work. Losing him for any extended period would be a significant blow to our championship aspiration. The Warriors were already dealing with injuries heading into Monday's game, missing Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, and Al Horford. That forced Steve Kerr to get creative with his rotations and try some lineup combinations that we haven't seen much of this season. Kerr made the decision to start Gary Payton II in place of Will Richard and put Quinton Post at the center position. On paper, that might have seemed like a risky move, but it worked out remarkably well. Payton recorded 9 points, 6 rebounds, and a career-high 8 assists in just under 21 minutes, showing the kind of versatility and basketball IQ that makes him such a valuable piece of this roster. His defensive intensity set the tone, and his playmaking was a pleasant surprise that opened up opportunities for everyone else. Quinton Post's performance was equally impressive in different ways. The young center didn't shoot the ball particularly well, going just 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, but he still managed to impact the game significantly. Post finished with 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, and his defense continues to show major improvement from his rookie campaign. The most telling statistic was his plus-minus of +-20-7 in just under 28 minutes, which indicates that the Warriors were dominant when he was on the floor. Post is developing into the kind of modern center that can switch defensively, make smart passes, and space the floor, even if his shooting percentages aren't elite yet. His growth has been one of the more encouraging storylines of this season. Will Richard came off the bench and provided another spark, scoring 9 points with 6 rebounds and posting a +29 in nearly 22 minutes. Richard has been a revelation for the Warriors this season, bringing energy, effort, and production whenever his number is called. He's the kind of player who doesn't need plays designed for him to make an impact, and his willingness to do the dirty work has earned him the trust of the coaching staff and his teammates. Seeing young players like Richard and Post step up when veterans are out is exactly what championship organizations need. Now let me get to the player whose performance Monday night has become the centerpiece of every conversation happening around the Warriors. Buddy Hield has been one of the most discussed names on this roster over the past several weeks, and not always for positive reasons. There's been growing speculation about his fit with the team, questions about his consistency, and increasing chatter about whether he might be a trade candidate as we approach the deadline. Hield's $9.2 million salary makes him a movable piece, and there have been whispers throughout league circles that the Warriors might be willing to part with him if the right deal presents itself. Those whispers got louder after Friday's game against the Portland Trail Blazers, when Hield went completely scoreless in his last start. It was a performance that had people questioning whether his shooting touch had abandoned him, whether he was pressing too hard, and whether Steve Kerr could continue to trust him in meaningful minutes. The 32-year-old veteran looked out of sorts. His shots weren't falling, and there was a palpable sense that his time with the Warriors might be running out. Trade speculation reached a fever pitch over the weekend, with analysts and insiders suggesting that Golden State might be actively shopping Hield to teams looking for shooting and scoring punch. Then Monday night happened, and Buddy Hield reminded everyone exactly why the Warriors brought him in and what he's capable of when he's locked in. Coming off the bench, Hield exploded for 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in just under 23 minutes of action. He shot 8 of 13 from the floor and 4 of 8 from three-point range, providing exactly the kind of offensive firepower that the Warriors have been desperately missing during this underwhelming stretch of the season. It was arguably his best performance of the entire year, a statement game that at least temporarily quieted the trade speculation and showed that he still has plenty left in the tank. Watching Hield operate Monday night was a reminder of why he's been one of the league's premier shooters throughout his career. He was moving without the ball, finding open spaces in the defense, and knocking down shots with the kind of confidence that makes defenses pay attention. His sidestep three-pointers were falling, his floaters in the lane were dropping, and he was making smart decisions with the ball in his hands. The Warriors' offense has sorely lacked that kind of secondary scoring punch, and Hield delivered it when the team needed it most. The Chase Center crowd was feeding off his energy, and you could see his teammates gaining confidence as his shots started falling. But here's where things get complicated and interesting. One great game doesn't erase the concerns that have been building around Hield's overall performance this season. The Warriors need consistency from their role players, not sporadic explosions followed by disappearing acts. Hield has been too up and down, too unreliable, and that's what has fueled the trade speculation in the first place. Monday night was absolutely a step in the right direction, a performance that buys him some goodwill and some time, but he needs to build on it moving forward. If he reverts back to the inconsistent shooting and passive play we've seen at other points this season. Those trade conversations are going to heat up again very quickly. From a front office perspective, the Warriors are in an interesting position with Hield. His contract is manageable and tradable, which makes him an attractive piece in potential deals. There are teams around the league that desperately need shooting and will be willing to give up assets to acquire someone with Hield's skill set. The question the Warriors have to ask themselves is whether they believe Hield can be a consistent contributor in a championship run, or whether they'd be better served packaging him in a deal that brings back a player or players who fit better with what they're trying to accomplish. Monday night's performance complicates that calculus because it showed that when Hield is on, he can be a legitimate weapon that makes the Warriors' offense nearly unstoppable. There's also the human element to consider here. Buddy Hield is a veteran who has been in this league for years, who has established himself as one of the great shooters of his generation, and who came to Golden State with the hope of contributing to a championship team. Being mentioned in trade speculation can't be easy, especially when you're fighting to prove your worth every single night. Monday's performance felt like a player who heard all the noise, who understood his place with the team was being questioned, and who responded in the best way possible by going out and dominating. That kind of competitive spirit and mental toughness is exactly what you want to see from veterans on your roster. The timing of all this is crucial because we're rapidly approaching the trade deadline, which is when teams have to make final decisions about their roster construction for the playoff push. The Warriors are at a crossroads where they need to evaluate whether this current group is good enough to compete for a championship, or whether changes need to be made to give themselves a better chance. Buddy Hield's performance Monday night might have bought him some time and shifted the conversation slightly, but the front office is still going to be exploring all their options and looking at every possible way to improve this team. Let's talk about what a potential Buddy Hield trade might look like and what the Warriors could be targeting in return. If Golden State decides to move him, they'd likely be looking for one of a few things. They could target a more consistent role player who fits better with their defensive identity and provides more reliable production night to night. They could look for a younger player with upside who could develop into a long-term piece. They could package Hield with other assets to go after a bigger name who could elevate this team to true championship contender status. Or they could simply look to clear salary and create more financial flexibility for future moves. Each of those scenarios has merit, and the Warriors' brain trust will be weighing all of them as they navigate the next few weeks. The other consideration is what Hield's departure would mean for the Warriors' rotation and offensive structure. He's been getting significant minutes off the bench, and his shooting gravity opens up space for other players, even when his shots aren't falling. Removing him from the rotation would require someone else to step up and fill that role, whether it's increasing minutes for younger players like Will Richard or Quinton Post, or bringing in someone new through a trade. Steve Kerr would need to adjust his rotations and his offensive schemes, and there's always risk involved when you're making changes to a team that's trying to build chemistry and continuity. Looking ahead to Wednesday's game against the Houston Rockets, the Warriors will be hoping to build on Monday's momentum and string together some wins. The Rockets will be without two-time Finals MVP Kevin Durant due to personal reasons, which gives Golden State a significant advantage on paper. But as we've seen throughout this season, nothing comes easy, and the Warriors need to approach every game with focus and intensity. How Buddy Hield performs in that game and in the games that follow will be telling. If he can maintain the shooting touch and confidence he showed against Utah, it might be enough to keep him in a Warriors uniform for the rest of the season. If he reverts back to inconsistency, don't be surprised if trade talks intensify significantly. The broader question for Warriors fans is what we want this team to prioritize. Do we value continuity and giving this current group more time to gel and figure things out? Or do we want the front office to be aggressive and make moves that might give us a better chance to compete for a championship right now while we still have Stephen Curry in his prime? These are not easy questions, and reasonable people can disagree about the best path forward. What's clear is that the Warriors are at a decision point, and the moves they make or don't make over the next few weeks will define the trajectory of this season. Before I wrap this up, I need to hear from you, Dubs Nation. What do you think about Buddy Hield's situation with the Warriors? Did Monday night's performance change your perspective on whether he should stay with the team or be traded? If you were running the front office, would you keep him and hope for more consistency? Or would you explore trade options to bring in a different piece? What other moves do you think the Warriors should be making to improve this roster? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to know how you're feeling about the direction of this team and what you think needs to happen for us to get back to championship contention. If you want to stay on top of every Warriors development, every trade rumor, every injury update, and every piece of breaking news that impacts our team, you absolutely must be subscribed to Warriors News Fan Report. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single video. I'm here every day bringing you the most comprehensive Warriors coverage on the platform, breaking down every game, every decision, and every storyline that matters. Give this video a thumbs up if you found this analysis valuable, and share it with your fellow Warriors fans so everyone in our community stays informed and connected. Until next time, keep that same energy, stay passionate about our team, and let's keep believing in what we can accomplish this season. Dubs Nation, let's get it.